It was April 5th, 1984 in Salt Lake City, Utah, that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, with a pass from Magic Johnson, faked right, then turned left, using his iconic skyhook over Jazz center Mark Eaton. This gave him the all-time NBA scoring title. Kareem eclipsed the mark set by former Laker great Wilt Chamberlain. Just 7 months later, the man who would break the record would be born. Abdul-Jabbar would go on to play 5 more seasons and added nearly 7,000 more points. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar finished his career with 38,387 points. A fun fact, Kareem scored his first and last points against the same team, my very own Detroit Pistons. LeBron James Sr. was born in a small town in urban Ohio. His mother, Gloria James, was 16 years old at the time. Fearing that LeBron would succumb to the dredges of city life, Gloria enrolled him in football at an early age. It wasn't until he was 9 years old that he picked up his first basketball. Quickly running with his teammates, they flew through the ranks of the AAU as members of the Northeast Ohio Shooting Stars. When it was time to enter high school, James chose St. Vincent St. Mary's School, a private Catholic school that served predominantly white students. It was here that a now 6'2" freshman James began to take the basketball world by storm. His team went undefeated, finishing 27-0, and by his sophomore year, there was so much buzz around the team that they began playing their high school games at the University of Akron, which held over 5,000 rabid fans. LeBron's sophomore year was much of the same: more wins, another state title, and complete domination, becoming the first sophomore ever selected to the USA Today All-American First Team. He was featured on the cover of Sports Illustrated for an iconic cover dubbed The Chosen One, making him the first high school basketball player to grace the cover of Sports Illustrated, and he wasn't even a senior. In 2003, James made the inevitable decision of foregoing college and entering the NBA draft, where he would be taken number 1 overall by the Cleveland Cavaliers. The self-proclaimed kid from Akron was about to explode on the NBA scene. Kareem's record had now stood for 24 years, and no one had even come close to touching it. But things were about to change when James recorded his first basket on a jump shot in almost the exact same spot Kareem had broken the record. In just 4 seasons, LeBron has scored over 10,000 points, making him the youngest player ever to achieve the mark. It was the 9th fastest in league history. By 2013, LeBron had already eclipsed 15,000 points, nearly halfway to the record. It was January 16th against the Warriors. James scored 25 points, in pushing his total of 20,000 points for a career. Again, he was the youngest player to ever do so. The next chapter brought in the summer of 2014. James held a press conference to express his intent to leave Cleveland and join forces with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh on the Miami Heat. This placed LeBron for the first time in the role of villain, and he embraced it wholeheartedly, setting a career high in points in a single game with 61. He would dominate, firmly entrenching himself as the greatest basketball player in the world and staking his claim as the greatest player ever. For the next 5 years, LeBron would play with a level of dominance that has rarely been seen. He would become the youngest player to score 25,000 points. Fast forward to 2018, LeBron has returned home, back to Cleveland. The King had returned, and not only had he returned a conqueror, leading Cleveland to the first and only NBA championship in the process. He would eclipse 30,000 points, becoming only the seventh player in NBA history to do so, joining the likes of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Wilt Chamberlain, Kobe Bryant, and Michael Jordan. It was now official. The watch was on. If LeBron was going to pass this point, there was only one place, one team that he could do it. For the second time in his life, LeBron failed to resign with the Cleveland Cavaliers and took his talents to LA, becoming a Los Angeles Laker. As father time and injuries began to catch up with LeBron, his scoring pace slowed. In sports, there is one victor who is never lost, and that's father time. It was catching up to LeBron. His pundits and many others began to doubt that he would ever reach Kareem's mark before his body forced him to retire. But on February 8th, 2003, the record would fall. Kareem's record stood for 39 years. Up until that day, every day of LeBron's life, Kareem was the all-time leading scorer up until then. I wonder how long it will take for the record to fall. Long live the king.